What it comes down to is that we fire, meaning we visit a bowling alley. We've never been to one before. There's a flood of new information, and we fire that. We come back to the bowling alley again and again. We wire it and wire it more substantially, and each thing becomes more axon, becomes more myelin coated, and that coating establishes the speed limit of information transition. And in the left brain, it's Lego-like, it's cog-like, it's cognitive. And the right brain is not cognitive. It's acausal, it's aperceptive, it's, there's another A word I was trying to think of there. At any rate, that they're very different, these two minds, which causes a lot of human consternation, not the least in myself. And yeah, so the basics are left brain stuff, firing and wiring concepts, because this is what's happening whenever you do anything at all. And if you, I've talked about psychedelics only insofar as a major upheaval in the mind, in the psychology of the mind, in the systemic structure of the mind, and that could be just having a car accident, that could be you know, a relationship that goes bust, it could be something, a medical scenario, or it could be drugs, something that breaks into that superstructure of mind, firing and wiring, the neural map, the neural architecture, and comes in like a tidal wave and doesn't leave anything the same. And when it doesn't leave anything the same, that means when it doesn't the same, brand new neurology, neurogenesis, stem cell connections, all sorts of things open up in terms, and that's the beauty of the physics of the human brain, has to be there. The brain is in you know, the universe. The universe is down from our hotel on Saint Germain one day in Paris, down to the Seine. We went by some art, saw it in the window, went in, and I picked up the artist's book. I think his name was Dumbas, an amazing piece in the window. And right there it said reality is a pattern, and reality is a pattern. And certain groups, psychological groups, are on certain frequency lines. And because of entrenched knowingness and handed down, bequeathed logarithms of understanding and biases and so on, that becomes a force. And so let's say autism might be a way of trying to deal with evolution, trying to deal with, you know, the need to sort of photocopy information, the need to sequence, infinite sequences. Rain Man can recite 22 novels from memory but doesn't know anything about the characters in them. And that's the essence of where we're going here in terms of how the left brain and right brain and the orchestrated brain, the synaptic maps and synaptic access and synaptic capacitation, whether we're talking about zillions of uptake inhibitors and serotonin and dopamine and all sorts of biochemistry, because that's what it is. It's sort of this firing is the sort of electrical part of the brain, and then repeated, the biochemistry comes in, the myelin comes in, and then it materializes even more. So it's what starts as an electrical impulse and settles down into being a material thing, and that becomes a construct in the mind, like a girder on a bridge. I suppose think of one of those balloons that can be twisted into all sorts of shapes and look like different animals. The human psyche is like that, and because firing and wiring is imposed on us, we're not free to fire and wire exactly as we might want to. That becomes a problem. So that psychic pressure, downward pressure, you know, just think about working relationships or whatever, and the psychic overlap and how that can manipulate one's feelings and particularly one's emotions. So